Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about astral projection, because this is something that has always interested me and fascinated me, and I've actually had some experience with this, so I want to talk about that. But before I get started, I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of my listeners who reached out to me and said, you know what, your podcasts have kind of become a little bit repetitive. And I want to just quickly apologize for that. I always meditate and say, what do people need to hear? But I realized after the comments and going back and looking that yes, they have been a little bit repetitive. So I'm going to go ahead and blame the universe. I'm just kidding. I totally believe in taking full responsibility for what I do. And I don't want to drive away any listeners. And so if my podcasts have seemed a little bit repetitive lately, I really do apologize because I don't want to bore you to death. That is not my intent. I want you to get something new out of every podcast. So with that in mind, I am going to try to do more of what I want to do and do my own things and maybe be like, you know what, universe, if someone needs to hear that, they can go back and listen to an old podcast because this is what I want to do. And I want to put a little more fun back into it. So I hope that you guys are willing to join me on this ride. Who knows where it will take us? So, without any further ado, thank you for being here with me. And so back to my topic at hand today, which is astral projection. So many of you may have heard of it, but some of you may be out there going, what the heck are you talking about? What is astral projection? So I want to give you just a quick explanation of what it is and what I've experienced with it, and also what experts say. So the first thing, astral projection, some people like to call it an out-of-body experience. Now, people experience these out-of-body experiences right before death or when they have a near-death experience. But many people experience these astral projections or out-of-body experiences when they're in a very deep sleep. And this is what I have experienced with them. So what I have always learned growing up, because I used to listen to James Van Praagh and of course Sylvia Browne and those kinds of people. And what I always learned is that astral projection is when your soul leaves your body and goes to experience other dimensions. Like we can go and visit our loved ones who have passed over, or we can visit other people in the 5D, people we're not able to connect with here in the physical 3D. Now, from the scientific standpoint, an out-of-body experience or astral projection isn't necessarily, the scientists would say it's not your soul leaving your body, that it's all in your mind. I don't really know the distinction there, and I don't think that there's enough actual research to say, yes, definitively it's this or it's that. That doesn't really matter. I will explain to you what I have experienced with astral projection. And then if you have experiences with it, I'd love to know. Please feel free to share your experiences. But what I have experienced before is when I go into a deep sleep, I have experienced before where I'm like flying. And it feels very real. It's exhilarating. And there's no plane or anything. It's just like I can fly. And I know that this is what I'm doing. And then whenever I try, it's like a very vivid, real dream. And then when I try to wake up from it, it's almost like I'm paralyzed. Like I feel like I wake up in like a jerking kind of emotion. Like that's the best way that I can describe it. It feels like my whole body just like jerks. And what I've read before from other people is that that is like when your soul is trying to get back into your body. That's when you feel that reaction. I don't really know. I've also had dreams where they seem very vivid and it's like I trip over something and I wake up in the same way. And it's like a very, like I just jump awake. I've had dreams that were very vivid dreams where I have visited my loved ones who have crossed over, and it was very realistic. And the person, like in my dream, I knew the person was already gone. So I'm like, how am I having this conversation with you? Or how am I, hugging you right now? And it seems so very real. And I've always woken up from those dreams and felt like this wasn't, like it wasn't a fake thing. I actually did see those people, and this actually did happen. But again, I think it was astral projection where I actually traveled to meet this person on the other side to talk to them. And it seems very real, and it's very exciting. And I think that a lot of people use astral projection for many different things. I've heard, now again, I'm not an expert here by any means, that some people might use astral projection to heal their physical body. Like if they're very exhausted, they've got illness going on in their body, that they leave their body to heal their body. Again, I don't really know if that's the case or not, but that's one thing that I've read. So for me, I feel like astral projection or out-of-body experiences, I think that they are probably very different for each person. You listened to my interview that I had with Jay when he had his near-death experience, and he talks about how there was a light and going to the light. And I've read so many books where people have had near-death experiences, and they always talk about a light, and they talk about being just over their body and being able to see their body and see what was going on, but they didn't really feel anything connected to their body. Like they didn't feel any pain or anything that was happening to their body, but they could see their body and they were just over their body. So they were connected yet not connected, if that makes any sense. And I've always found that really, really interesting. But the astral plane is one of the 7 planes of being. And as humans, we live on the material plane. And we live in the material world so much. Every day it's the rat race, right? We're all used to this, getting up, making our money, coming home, and it's just repetitive over and over and over. So it's no wonder that our bodies would want to take a little vacation from that we want to take a vacation to another plane where, at least when I've been there, like when I had the experience where I was flying, I felt so free. And a lot of times in this physical material world, we feel very much tied down. Our bodies are very heavy. And one of the things that I know when I've talked to people who've had near-death experiences, one of the things they talk about and describe is how light and free they finally feel when they're no longer connected to this material world, this plane here on Earth. Earth is heavy. I've talked to friends. I have a friend. We had a long conversation one time, and he said, I just always, as a kid, I felt like I didn't belong here, and I don't like it here, and it feels icky here, and it feels so heavy and burdensome, and I just don't like it. And I feel like that's how a lot of people feel when they come here, because we're so used to being on the other side that is so light and carefree, and then we come here and it's so heavy. We're way down, We're not used to, think about it. If you could fly, being where you were on the other side, and then you come here and you can't, that would be quite a shock to your system. So I feel like a lot of times we astrally travel to escape from the heaviness and the denseness of this material world. We just need an escape. Just like in real life, when we're like, I just need a vacation, our bodies, our minds, our souls all think the same thing too. And so going to a different level, projecting astrally, is one way that you can do that. And you can do that when you're asleep. But there are also experts who talk about how you can be awake and do it too. Now, I've never had any experience with astral projection while being awake. And I think that probably takes a lot of training, because what your body does, your mind also wants to do. So if your body's asleep, your mind also wants to go into that sleep state. So I think it would be really difficult to be able to do this while awake. But I know some people, they practice this and they get really good at that. I'm not one of those people. But whenever I have astrally traveled, it's funny because have you ever had like a full night's sleep and you don't remember waking up or anything, but you just wake up tired? I know whenever I've done a lot of astral projection in the night, because I wake up and I'm like, man, I'm so tired. Because I feel like even though my body slept, I was out doing all kinds. I was flying in the middle of the night. So I don't remember that until, I wake up and go, you know what? I had this recollection of flying. And I think that's really astral projection. And one of the things for me as the dead giveaway, if I was, is that I wake up, and I'm not kidding you, it's like some professionals say you can feel your soul coming back into your body. That's what it feels like to me. Like I'm woken up by, like my body does this whole jerking move, and it's like I'm just jerked awake by something. And I think it is what they say. It's you coming back from the astral projection. But it's so, it's strange, because I remember when it first started happening when I was a kid. I can remember this even as a kid. I would wake up like, what the heck just happened to me? Like, I don't even know what just happened. And I would feel this weird, some people say they feel paralyzed, like they can't move. And it scares them a little bit. I never had the fear, and I didn't have paralysis, but I just had almost as if someone came and shook you awake. That's how I would wake up. And it was something waking me up, and I felt like it really was like the soul coming back into my body, which was such a weird thing for me. But it was cool too at the same time, because it's like, okay, well, this is weird that I'm like re-entering my body, but at the same time I had this really cool dream where I could fly, and it felt so real, and I felt free, and I was happy, and it was really cool. Or dreams where I've gone and I've visited with other family members, felt so real, and they talked to me, and I remember what they said to me. And it felt so real, and I really think it was. And it was a really cool thing to be able to do. I've even had dreams. This is really weird. I don't know that this is astral travel. I don't know. I think it's probably, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I do believe that we can time travel, if that makes sense. I think that we have multiple timelines going on, which is also just another whole weird thing that I'll have to do more research on and maybe do another podcast episode about. But I've had dreams where I saw myself with my spouse, and no, I'm not married right now. And I really believed when I woke up, because it was someone that I knew in this lifetime, that wasn't my spouse in this lifetime, that I felt like I was seeing a future life with this person. And not in this lifetime, but like in another lifetime, which is so strange. But I've also heard of people who have dreams about their past lives. And they'll say, well, I had this dream where, I was in the 1800s and this was going on and this was going on around me. I've talked to clients who have said that. I've had dreams where I was at the pyramids, or I had a dream where I was a slave owner, and it was back during the times of the Civil War, or I was, in Nazi Germany and this was going on. So people have lots of experiences, and I truly believe we can have dreams where we see past lives and even future lives, because I really think that what I was seeing in my dream was a future lifetime for me, where I ended up with this person. I even knew what professions we had and what it felt like to be married to this person, like that we had a good life and we were happy. Like I knew those things, and that was so strange. And I don't know that that's the same thing as astrally projecting. I don't know. And if there's anyone that has more information about that or is an expert about that and you would like to be on my show, please reach out because that would be great. I think it's a fascinating subject and I need to do a lot more research about that. But I think that the fact that we can travel between planes is such a cool and interesting thing. And there are so many reasons that people do astral projection. And sometimes I think that we astrally project for different reasons. Sometimes it is to talk to our loved ones who are not here. Sometimes I think it's to get guidance from our higher selves. Sometimes I think it's just to, again, escape. Because for me, I don't know really what the lesson in the flying was for me, other than just to know that I had an absolute blast. It was the best. I woke up yeah, that was so much fun, and I wish I could do that here. It was such a freeing feeling. And I think that for me going and flying and doing all of those things was like a release for me. It was a way for me to actually feel less stress, because when I woke up, I felt so much better. I was, it's like when you go do something fun, like laughing with your friends for an hour, and afterwards you're like, I needed that. That's how it felt for me when I woke up. And I know that there's conscious and unconscious astral travel, like I talked about. With the conscious travel, your mind is still awake, but your body is completely at rest. And with the conscious travel, you can actually control where your soul goes, like where you want to travel. And with the unconscious, which is what I've experienced, you never know where you're going to go. I mean, maybe your higher self is actually controlling that. I don't know. I really don't have those answers. But I know that I have ended up in different places every time. I've even ended up in my past. And that's very odd. And even with pets that I've had in the past, I had these 2 cats that I absolutely adored when I was little. And I've gone back even in my dreams and visited with the cats. I mean, as strange as that sounds. So I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but that was my experience with astral travel. And it's been a topic that I've found fascinating for a really long time. And I know that whenever my mentor, Julia Treat, said that she, in her sleep, people will contact her and say, you were in my bedroom and you were doing this, or you were helping me heal this. So she talks about how she travels in her sleep to go and help people in her flock, in her tribe, and doesn't even realize it. She's like, no wonder I'm so tired when I wake up. But I know what she's talking about because I have experienced the same thing where even though I've had a full night's sleep and I don't really remember waking up, when I am awake, when I do wake up that next morning, I feel very tired. And then little bits and pieces will come back like, oh, you know what? I had this dream that I was talking with my great aunt. So I must have traveled to go and do that. And I think it's just such a cool experience. So if you've ever had an experience with astral travel, I'd love to hear about it. You can reach out to me and let me know what your experiences are. And also, if there's a topic that you want to know more about, please reach out to me, because if it's something I don't know anything about, I am more than willing to do some research to see if there's anything that I can find out about it or share with you at least what I do know, because there's so much untapped, there's so many things we're reading about now. And I would love to do more interesting topics like that. I want to do another one on past life regression. I've had so many people reach out to me and tell me about their different past lives, and I'd love to do some kind of episode like that too, because I find all of these things so interesting. I mean, how cool is it that we can travel? And now with everything that's going on, we may have to travel astrally if we want to travel at all. I'm going to have to figure out how to travel to the beach in my sleep because I'm needing some beach time, I think. So anyway, on a serious note, I do want to thank you so much for being here and being a part of my tribe. And if there is a topic, again, that you'd like to hear more about, let me know. I have just relied on what the universe has given me, but apparently the universe is a little bit redundant. So I'm open to any things you'd like to know more about. And over the next few weeks, while I continue to be home and working from home, I want to try to upload more videos, maybe do more lives from Facebook. I'd like to offer you energy clearings and maybe more messages and card readings to kind of get you through your day, because I know that this is an unprecedented time and there are many of us who are stuck in our homes, and I want to do as much for you to support you as I can. And those of you with children, I know it's been a little bit rough, but there are a lot of resources out there for you. I know a lot of librarians who are doing story time with their children. One of my podcast listeners and followers, Prudence, she's doing a story time. So I'm going to try to share her page on my page so that parents who have young children, you can sit down with them and allow her to read your children a story to occupy their time. And when I find other little resources like that out there, I want to share those with you. There are lots of zoos from around the country who are live streaming, and it's so cute that they're showing you what the animals are doing while the zoos are closed. So there are lots of things that you can do with your kids while you have this time out. And maybe you can astrally project at night so you can get a little break. Go on vacation somewhere. We will get through this, I promise. So again, I want to thank you for joining me. I did pull a card for you today, and the card I pulled is from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. And it is Sarasvati, and it's the arts. Express yourself through creative activities. I love that. I think we need that especially right now. We just need to be tapping into our creativity. There are so many funny and creative things I've seen on the internet recently. One of my friends, her daughter does those TikToks all the time, and I know I sound so outdated when I say that because, I was like, they do a what? But she made those with her daughter. Like, this is what we're doing while we're quarantined. And it was so funny, like different things around the house. People are very creative. So I think during this time, you know what? Get creative. Do whatever you need to do to help yourself get through this. It is going to get better, and this too shall pass. I promise. We're going to one day look back at this as like, oh gosh, remember that one time? And hopefully we never have to face something like this again anytime soon. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me. As always, if you like this podcast, please share it with others. Please subscribe. Please leave me reviews and comments. That helps other people find me. And I'm totally serious. If there's something you'd like to know more about, please reach out to me. I want to give you guys the content that you really like to hear. So if there's something you've just been dying to know more about, reach out to me. And if I do know anything about it or can do some research about it, I will. And also, if you want to work with me, go to my website, melissaoatman.com. There you will find all of the services that I offer, as well as pricing. If you want to work with me, you can purchase your session online and then just contact me and we will schedule it, set it up so that you have the time that you need for you. I have daytime availability now as well as evening, so just reach out. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I go live Mondays at 5:30 Central on Facebook. I may be going live more often. I also post videos to Instagram, so check that out. As always, I hope that you guys are having a beautiful day from wherever you are. And I hope that you will join me again tomorrow. I love you guys so much. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.